Hi there, I'm Marius, and in a recent video we already took a look at TypeScript and bundling and how those tools can help us set up our projects so that they can handle more complexity and use external tools so that we don't have to program everything ourselves. This time we will take a first look at a client API for Power Pages and how we can get and set form fields. So first of all, I need to clarify that this client API is by no means ready for production yet. However, I still wanted to take you with me on that multiple month journey throughout the development so that you can get some value out of this work before the API reaches a state of a 1.0 version, or you simply do not have enough use cases to use a full API and just want to implement one specific use case. So let's first take a look at the general structure of a form field. We have a form embedded here. I have multiple data types. And with a simple string, we have an input field here. And let's select it. So we have a table row, and this has columns. This column has two divs inside. One has the class info, one has the class control. The info has an ID with the logical name of the field underscore label, and here you see what is written inside. And the control has an input with the ID of the logical name of the field. So let's write something inside, and then we can test over in the console that we can get the value. So you simply select it by ID the field and then dot value to get its value. And we can also change the value by simply setting the value to a different one. So in this case, hello. So currently it's test, and if I hit enter, then it's hello. This approach will work well for everything that has a simple input, like the string, decimal, money, integer, and float fields. Actually, it will also work for the choice field because you can also set the value here. But with the radio buttons for the Boolean, the datetime field, which has a date picker, or the lookup with its modal control, it won't work that simple. To take a closer look at the other types, I've brought you over to my Visual Studio Code. Here's a first attempt to implement a getValue function. However, you see with the different types, so for example text types or a lookup field, which not only comprises of the actual element, but also a second element called underscore name, which has the primary field, so the display name, and the underscore entity name, which has the logical name of the entity inside. And then we can see down here implementation for evaluating the radio button, which iterates through all buttons inside the radio element and then checks which one is checked to return its value. But you also see, if we scroll through this, that if I start implementing everything that we have available for Dataverse, this class would get huge. So we need a different solution. So to get a somewhat portable code, I've used the add_types XRM package and then implemented the attributes in there. And to not have to implement everything there, we also have the attribute base, which implements all the rest of the function. Of course, you see here right now all the functions just throw an error that they are not implemented. So for this string attribute, the getValue is, as said, relatively simple. We just, in the constructor, save the element by document.getElementById, and then we take the value, and with setValue, of course, we just set the given value to the value of the element. For the Boolean attribute, it's a little bit more difficult because we have those radio buttons, which are selected here on the inside of the element by everything that is a radio button. And then we can iterate through those buttons to find the one which is checked. And then the true button has a value of 1 and the false button has a value of 0. And we can also use this with setValue, where we iterate the buttons and then check the button that has the given value in its transformed state. Datetime in theory is pretty simple. However, it also has this display element, which ends in _datePicker_description. And in theory, it is enough with setValue to just set the value as a UTC string. However, to the user, this will be very confusing because he won't see the value. So if you show the field to the user, you should also set this display element with a local string. And as already explained in the first attempt of the attribute2 class, the lookup attribute has this entity name and name fields. And if you want to get the value, of course, you can read all three. So the base element with the logical name of the field, then the name, which is the logical name _name, and the entity, which is the logical name of the field _entity name values. And with setValue, it's pretty much the same. You just set all three values. And now let's take a look at how we would use this client API in a Power Page. So in this form page, I've embedded the script with the output of the API. And then we can use here in the form Power Pages Client API .form context. And we're just newing up here. There are no inputs. If we would have multiple forms on a page, we would need an input which form to use. However, that is just for the future. And then with this context, we can get an attribute just by typing in its logical name. So this is the float field down here. And if we say attra.setValue, then we can see we can simply set the value. And if I type in 14 maybe, and we get the value, we also get out the values. Let's also take a look at one of the more complex fields. So let's take the date time here. If we select out by logical name and then set a value, so this is on the 17th at 13:32, then you can see it was adapted for me by 1 hour because that's my UTC offset in the display. That's it for this video. I hope I'll catch you soon in another video where we'll implement more functions of the Power Pages Client API. Till then, bye.